All right, Talisman enthusiasts, here we are talking about core tactics. This checklist of ideas, if we can break up the game into the start of the game, mid-game, and end-game. And of course, end-game is when you're making that run for the crown of command. Sometimes you're ready to make the run. Other times you're forced a little bit early because someone else is now starting to pull ahead. This is why gaining momentum in the beginning of the game, the start of the game, is so important, which is why you don't want to miss game turns on there. As you progress to mid-game, now you're getting your stats, kind of your ducks in order here, everything lined up, to make that run on your own term. Now, certainly on your own terms. Certainly, there's going to be some slight modification based on the randomness of items drawn, how many expansions in play, how many other players, what characters. That stuff is going to change it and cause you to kind of modify it and inject it into that matrix. So you've got a couple of objects, you've got a couple of followers, you've bumped up your strength, you've bumped up your craft, you're getting ready to think about going, how much strength? How much craft? Well, in a perfect world, I would like to have double digits. I would like to have some sort of follower or some sort of item that is going to give me a boost on there, depending on if I'm going to go strength or craft. I'm not so much worried about the portal of power because I can try to dice it through. Worst cases, I'll miss a turn. But once you make it into the inner realm of the board, assuming you're not doing the dragon expansion on there, now if you fail, you're going to start losing life. You're going to get booted out. You're really going to start burning those game turns. That's the ideal. Do I go in with 8 strength or 8 craft? If someone's right behind me and they're going to easily dominate through, yeah, they're going to blast me with the crown. But that is the ideal piece. The 3 things that I consider 100% you need. I want to be healed up to minimum my this is like a wish list here, right? But at a minimum, my starting life. That's why if I have a couple of gold and I can visit the doctor, or what is it, you drop off the prince and you get some free healing or something like that. Although I'm always sacrificing the prince, that smug nobility to the vampire lord and the vampire tower there, right? But having some ability where as you move towards the end of the middle of the game and you're ready to make your run, boom, you can heal up. I would like a healing potion. I would like something to boost my health above starting. Maybe you're rune sorting everybody, but at the very minimum, at least healed up. Second, and this is 100% necessary, more so if you're playing some of the different variants, I want my fate up. I really want my fate up. Fate, that's a tactic all on its own. And admittedly, I'm trying to give you best case scenario, right? Best optimization here. Sometimes if you play with me or you have a chance to see me play Talisman, I take a lot of risks. I'm like that. I'm chaotic neutral. I will just gamble everything. 5 or 6 hours of gameplay on a D6. Let's do it, right? Just crazy on there. So I realize my own personal disconnect of sometimes I take massive risks in gaming and wargaming versus like a level-headed tactician in there. Although sometimes I can control that lust for glory on the tabletop. At the beginning of the game, you can afford to be a little more liberal with burning fate points on there to either get another die roll on the mystic or kind of see what you can pull out of the mines, or if it's something where, roll a d6 and see what you get. Yeah, now obviously if you have 2 fate, if you're a character with 2 fate, now you're down to 1. You might want to be a little more conservative. I always like to hold, and obviously if you're playing a character with more fate, was it the Dark Disciple? That gives you more fate on there. I try to hold 1 fate, always. If the werewolf or if the Reaper is in play, at least 2 fate. Because at some point, someone's going to move the Reaper. It's going to land on somebody else. They're going to D6 it. They're going to send it over to you. And you might roll a 1. Or gambling, if we're talking about gambling, we had an amazing game a couple of weeks back where my buddy I send the Reaper on him. It was going to happen, right? Come on. Send the Reaper on him. He rolls, sends it to me. I'm like, oh, okay. I roll. Boom. Send the Reaper back to him. He rolls, sends it to me. I roll. I kid you not. I roll. I send the Reaper to him. He rolls. He sends the Reaper to someone else. That person sends the Reaper back to me, and I'm like, I've had this. So I think I roll like a 6. I get like the boost on there. And I'm like, you know what? No. I'm going to burn a fate because I want to send the Reaper back to someone else. And like I sent it to someone else, and they got like punked on there. But it was like 4 minutes of trash talk and 4 minutes of like, hey, 1 in 6 chance. It can happen on there. So I want to have that extra fate just ready for when someone does that, either to protect myself from rolling a 1 or to kind of, I think it's a 5. Is it a 4 or 5 that sends them to someone else? But in terms of the mid, so at the beginning of the game, we'll spend more fate. We'll do that. We'll gamble a little bit with it. But once we move into that mid game, I need to make sure I have my fate up. Now, out of all the things in the game and all the expansions, it is, in the Talisman economy, it is a little bit challenging to generate fate. So I need to, at the beginning of the game, as I move to mid-turn, right before I make that switch, that mental calculation where, okay, now I'm geared up, I'm sufficient enough, now I'm getting everything ready for the run for the crown. Where can I go? Visit the graveyard, or where can I go on the temple card that you draw, the idol, is it the idol? That you can generate fate on there. I want to get that set because it might take a couple of game turns. I don't want to make the run for the crown without fate at a minimum for the reroll because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, that's a perfect example. I like to try and hold a random spell. So this way, once you get to the inner area, if I hit you with that random and I totify you, that's it. You drop all your gear. You're going to get punked. You're probably going to start backing out. It's just a mess in there. So having that fate. Now, okay, what are the odds of that, right? 1 in 6. Talisman, great odds. What are the odds of everything in the game? 1 in 6. No exploding dice. This is not Relic. Although I'm interested to see where they go with Relic on there. Will it justify a repurchase? Not that sure yet, but Relic's got some really good kind of 40K narrative on there. But I wouldn't want to get hit with the random, get totified, and not have a fate. You just don't know what the other players are holding on there. So leveled up life, healed up, preferably double digit, strength or craft, depending on which tree I'm looking to go up, and fate regenerated as best I can. When I have those things ready, and I'll bounce around the middle region, when I have those things ready, then we're ready to kick down the portal of power and make that run.